I'd like to introduce our first panelist here in our second panel, Chris Chinn of Chinn Hog Farms in Clarence, Missouri. She and her husband operate Chinn Hog Farm located in Clarence, Missouri. Chris and her husband are fifth-generation agricultural producers, and they currently operate a diversified operation that includes raising crops and livestock. She's testifying today on behalf of the American Farm Bureau Federation and will be able to provide an agricultural producer's perspective on the effect of these rules on family-owned small business farms. Ms. Chinn, thank you for appearing today, and you may now deliver your testimony.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the subcommittee. I appreciate the opportunity to share my comments on the Department of Labor's proposed regulation and how it will affect farm families. As you said, I'm also here today on behalf of the American Farm Bureau Federation, the nation's largest general farm organization. Last December, Farm Bureau and over 70 other agricultural organizations filed extensive comments in opposition to the Labor Department proposal. I would like to ask that those comments be included in the hearing record. My husband Kevin and I are fifth-generation farmers, and we're the proud parents of two terrific kids, Rochelle, who's 14, and Connor, who's 10. Both of our children work on our family farm on a daily basis, just like Kevin and I did when we were growing up. It's a way of life in rural America, but it's more than that. It's a way for us to instill important values in our children, having the right work ethic, earning your keep, recognizing that if you set your mind to something, you can accomplish almost anything, that effort and reward are related, and above all, to be careful when the job that you're doing entails risk. In addition to the chores that our kids do on our farm, both our kids help their grandma and grandpa on their farm. Connor collects eggs from the hens for which grandma pays him for, and he also helps her clean out the chicken house. Rochelle helps grandma in the breeding barn with our sows, and she helps breed those animals. She also uses the power washer in the hallways to help clean the hog barn. Their childhood is a lot like mine was, except I didn't get to grow up on a family farm. I spent lots of weekends in the summertime and days through the summer helping my grandparents on their family farm. I started driving a tractor when I was 12 years old. I milked the cows, I collected the eggs, I fed the livestock, I even cut weeds out of the bean field, and I also bucked hay bales. That was part of growing up on the farm, and I can honestly tell you that I would not trade it for anything in the world. But nearly every one of the tasks that I did as a teenager would be prohibited by the new proposed hazardous occupation order. Driving tractors is forbidden by HO number 1. Milking a cow is prohibited by HO number 4. Cutting weeds would be banned by HO number 3. And building or repairing a fence would be banned by HO number 6. I know that some people are saying that these regulations will not affect farm families, but I urge the members of this committee to read the actual proposal. Yesterday, the department said they would repropose the parental exemption part of the rule. That's positive. But until we know exactly what they intend to do, I think farmers and ranchers in agriculture are going to continue to be worried. To know why, you just need to look at that original proposal. The department said that once ownership of a farm is shared with persons other than or in addition to the parent, the exemption does not apply. The proposed regulation also said that a child had to actually live with a relative for possibly 3 months to be exempt, and that a period of less than 1 month would not be sufficient for the parental exemption to apply. It also stated that a child who is exempt from the Ag HOs when employed on his or her parent's farm would generally lose that exempt status when employed on a farm owned or operated by a neighbor or a non-parental relative, such as a grandparent, aunt, or uncle. When farm and ranch families tell you they feel threatened by these regulations, I hope you can understand why. I don't know how anyone can say that the Department of Labor is not fundamentally changing how they're going to enforce the law. The parental exemption is a critical part of this debate, but it's not the only part. For instance, the department wants to say that no youth under the age of 16 can work with any equipment that is operated by any power source other than human hand or foot power. That would eliminate a lot of equipment, including flashlights and garden hoses, which is not particularly hazardous. I don't think for 1 minute that Congress gave them that authority, and I certainly hope that you won't now. People like Kevin and I, we don't need people in Washington, D.C. telling us what our children can and cannot do on our family farm. We're pretty good at doing that ourselves. Our children are never allowed to go near our bulls or the grain augers. They're not allowed to be around a tractor that's mowing hay unless they're inside that tractor in a buddy seat with a seatbelt on. They're not allowed to go near our feed mill mixer. They're not allowed to mow grass on hills or near buildings, and they're not allowed to power wash inside of a farrowing room yet. I would also like to mention that my 14-year-old daughter, Rochelle, has been to the emergency room 3 times this year. Not one of these injuries was a result of something that happened on our family farm. Instead, they were school-related sports injuries. Never have my children been hurt on our family farm, and never had they been able to, or had a need to have to go to the emergency room because of something that happened on our farm. But my daughter, Rochelle, has went to the ER 3 times this year because of something that happened at school. There's an overwhelming feeling in the agriculture community that the whole proposal is fundamentally flawed. While we're pleased about yesterday's decision to repropose the parental exemption, I think most of us in agriculture feel that it would have been much better had the department withdrawn the entire rule. I would like to thank Congressman Rehberg for his leadership on this issue, and to each of you on this committee who signed on to his letter last year. Thank you for allowing me the time to testify today and for allowing me to share my story with you. I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have.